What's going on, everybody? Karate Kid Fanatics back here again. We have another very special guest, Tom Downey, aka Morgan from the Next Karate Kid. Tom, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. And cheers to all things Karate Kid. Big fan myself,
Absolutely.
obviously. Yeah. And if you found me, you must really like the Karate Kid.
Absolutely.
Say that.
Yes. So, before we get into the Next Karate Kid and some of the other great projects you've got to work on, initially get involved in the acting industry.
Always a big fan of film, storytelling. Loved movies growing up. One of the first ones I remember was watching King Kong. Thought that was amazing. Found out that was a model. And then Planet of the Apes was very influential. Freaked out by the masks, but the acting was also a lot of fun, especially for, a 6, 7 year old kid. And then a little film called Star Wars came around, and I said, that's probably
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
best way I've ever seen a story told at the tender young age of 8. So I go back quite a way. So I was able to see it in theaters with my older brothers and sisters, and then it became what it is. But it never really left me. And the artistry of it, just the beauty of some of those shots, gorgeous. In later years, like Blade Runner, gorgeous
Right.
movie, trying to figure out how I could get involved and tell stories like that. And then, of course, everybody wants to be a hero or a bad guy and get respect one way or the other. So acting kind of worked its way into me, into my DNA. I'll say it's my grandfather on my father's side was he was on Broadway before the First World
Oh,
War.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know that until much later in life, and I found out he was a singer and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's in the
That's
family.
awesome.
It's there. And then I went to art school for about a year, a little over a year, and I knew how to draw. So I said, well, I'll come back to this later. I want to act. Still
Right.
wish I had the degree now, but I have a lifetime of
Yeah. Yeah.
experience. But it's funny because I've been able to do, just to flash forward a little bit, I've been production designer on independent film and et cetera, things I would have done if I had stayed in school, but stay in school, kids.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's not for the circus life isn't for everyone. And
Right.
so, but
100%. Yeah.
yeah, so I ended up in New York City and was introduced to an acting class and troupe, and really didn't have a clue about acting. Or the director interviewed me and he said, "So you know what blocking is?" And I had never heard of blocking a scene before.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
said, "Yeah." And that was so
Yeah. We've
I
all done
lied.
that in some sort
Yeah,
of, yeah.
so I lied my way in, but and he kind of caught on, but he had a lot of faith in me. And within 3 months, I was starring in the off-Broadway plays they were doing. Um, so I had a great mentor in Wally Strauss. He was my Mr. Miyagi for acting.
Absolutely.
Wally
Yeah.
Strauss, guy, miss you, buddy. His wonderful daughter Georgia introduced me to the mother of my children, and so it's all meant to be. Um, but yeah, Wally was my guy, so that he gave me the confidence
Right.
to pursue it. He said, when I left New York City to move to Los Angeles to continue to do things out here, um, he swore at me. Can we swear on this podcast?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
He said, I can't fucking believe you. You know, all the big ones made it in New York. What the fuck are you doing, Tom? And I
Yeah.
was, so
Yeah.
he was furious with me
Yeah.
leaving. And, but I'm like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm sorry, Wally, I gotta go check that out. But that's how I started. I lied my way, or we could say acted my way
You acted
into,
your, absolutely.
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll clarify. So I found out right away I was good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, getting into the next Karate Kid,
Yeah.
what
Right.
was your audition process like? I know a lot of you guys originally did read for the Ned part. So kind of what was your audition
Right.
process like and just kind of how was that? Yeah.
Well, the sides that they had for it, which is your mini script, right? I think everybody knows the whole audition process now. There's no
Right.
secrets anymore. So the sides were all Ned. It's all Ned's lines, and we
Right.
all read the same scene. And the scene is him reacting to getting smacked by Julie, Hilary Swank. And yeah, I had no karate training or martial arts training at all,
Right.
and I was a big guy, wiry. The only thing I could do, I could run real fast and I could lift things. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm not particularly coordinated. They fixed that for me with 3 months of training. But I went
Right.
in and I said, well, I've got to show them that I'm a tough guy because I don't know anything
Right.
about any of this. And I went in, and Chris Kane, the director, was there with this older gentleman who I had no idea who he was. And there was a reader, and I read the scene. And at the end of the scene, I decided that I was going to swear, pick up a chair,
Yeah.
and throw it against the wall. And the other gentleman in the room said in a very deep, booming voice, "Okay," like that.
Yeah.
And he went,
Yeah.
"Yeah." And I was like,
Yeah.
did I blow it?" So I didn't
Yeah.
know. I don't know
Yeah.
if he was laughing at me or liked what I did. And it turned out to be that was Jerry Weintraub, who was the
Oh yeah.
producer of all the films. And
Many other films. Yeah.
yeah, and he did the vacation movies, which I love, and then he did the Ocean 11 movies, the reboots with Clooney and
Right.
Matt Damon, who I know from Boston way back in the day, never calls anymore. But but yeah, it was a great audition. I had no idea if I got the part or not, and then I was hanging out with my girlfriend at the time, and I was on a boat over Fourth of July
Right.
weekend, and because her dad was one of those people that would have access to a boat to go sailing.
Mm.
And I got a call from my brother, and Richard said to me, "Angela called, and she said you're going to be in a Karate Kid movie."
Oh
And
yeah.
he was like, because he knew I was auditioning for things, but the call
Yeah.
came into my house in Boston. Remember, this is the '90s, so it wasn't like they could get a hold of me,
Not like social
that
media
quick.
and phones and yeah.
Nothing like that, especially when I'm out on the ocean screwing around in the Long Island Sound.
Right.
Um, so I had to get off the boat and go back to Boston.
Yeah.
And it kind of cut their time short. And I was like, well, if I really didn't get this, I'm kind of going to piss this girl's dad off.
Oh
But
yeah.
so
Absolutely.
I got sent, I went back up and I went in, and I didn't realize I was going in basically for a fitting. I had already got the part and I didn't know it.
Right.
So that whole time of, getting to shore, getting from
Oh, that
New
anticipation.
York,
Yeah.
I didn't know if I really had the part. I honestly didn't know. And I showed up and they're like, so you'll be playing Morgan. And I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Now what do I
Absolutely.
do?
Yeah.
And then they let us know that we would start training immediately with Pat Johnson,
It's the dough, Roper, or we gotta break something.
who an amazing stunt coordinator and an
Legend.
incredible
Yeah.
athlete and just a really great guy. And he just passed away. So big shout out to
Yeah.
his family and
Yeah.
all of his friends. Massive community of support and love around that gentleman. And he had us train 5 days a week, and the training continued through filming.
Right.
And by the end of it, because I was, I'm completely green with all of this, he pulled me aside and he said, "Tom, I want to let you know you've come the furthest out of anybody. Some of these guys already,
Yeah.
they had some ability,
Yeah.
but he said you really impressed me, and he said I want you to stick with it if you can." So I stayed with it ish over the years. It's 30 years ago.
Right.
But some of the things he taught me, and again, if you find these mentors along the way that give you the confidence to believe in yourself that you can do these things. And a few years back, among other things I do, you play in the circus, you have other jobs to fill time.
Right.
I also have done private security, and
Oh wow. Yeah.
if you look, there's a By the Sea premiere with a couple of very famous people, and you'll see me right next to one of them. It's they split up. It was Brad and Angie. I'm just going to say it. I hope they don't get mad at me. But
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
kind of confidence said, yeah, I can put on a black suit and I can protect these
Yeah.
famous people with a bunch of other guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it just Pat. I think it was Pat that gave me the physical confidence to do that. And then I was a bouncer up until
Right.
the age of about, I think I stopped bouncing as a moonlighting gig because I bartended, I bounced, did all these different things. I've been a carpenter. Uh, I've had every other kind of job that you can have to keep things going.
Absolutely.
And I will say that Pat Johnson gave me the confidence to think that I, could handle college students that were on their way to being professional athletes who are
Right.
completely shit-faced and trying to beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was the one who would break that up, and I say, "Listen, you
Yeah.
guys, calm down. You don't want me to call your mother, do you? You know I have a
Yeah.
number, right?" And they'd be like, "Hey, what'd you say about my
Yeah.
mother?" But
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so Pat Johnson was great, and we did that, and I learned spinning back fist and this, that, and the
Oh
other,
yeah.
and getting flipped around and just beat to death. And then Michael Ironside, he was a trooper. He was already, he's probably 40 something
Yeah.
at that time, and he was great. He was a lot of fun to work with. And it's funny because he said at one point, he goes, in about 30 years, I think we're going to know who this kid is. And he was talking about me. And I was like, 30
Yeah.
years, jerk.
Yeah.
So he
Eh,
was he was a really funny
yeah.
guy. But he was
Yeah.
right. Now, 30 years later, you know who I am. So
Absolutely.
hi to everybody. Hey, how about
Yeah.
that? He was right. We got to
Yeah.
get that in focus there. Cheers.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. So, I like you told me, off camera, you're a Boston native. So what was it like
Yes.
being able to film this movie of a franchise you loved in your home, town?
It was crazy because I my family moved out of Boston into Newton, which is basically one town city over,
Right.
and they filmed Julie's the house that she goes to.
Right.
That's my friend Jenny Fine's house. Hi, Jenny.
Oh
I
wow.
I know where they keep the ketchup in the refrigerator. If you know,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been there. I've been up late nights playing cards there. When I was a teenager in high school, we would hang out there sometimes. And so we're at that house that I know. I'm like, wait, that's Jenny's house. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the holding was the grade school, which
Right.
is right down the street. So that was crazy. And they didn't use Newton North High School. Shout out to the Tigers, the mighty, mighty Tigers.
Yeah.
Uh, but they used Brookline High, our
Yep.
Thanksgiving Day
Yep.
rival, right? So,
Yeah.
so it was kind of like, and I have friends that I grew up with in Boston. They moved to Brookline. We moved to Newton. I'm still
Right.
friends with the Allens. Hello to the Allens. And so they're like, we can't believe you're shooting at our high school and you're doing the Karate
Yeah.
Kid. Got a
Yeah.
trailer with your name on the door. So it was fun.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. And
Absolutely.
where are you located? You're East Coast. So where are you?
Yeah. We're here in North Carolina. Yeah.
Oh, right on. Okie
Yeah.
dokie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know if you're going to get any remnants of the storm. I think it's stalled out down there in Florida, but
Yeah.
normally they
Luckily,
barrel up your
luckily it
way.
did. Yeah. 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 So getting into one of the first scenes we see you in, after kind of y'all's introduction scene, outside
Right.
the Dugan confrontation beating y'all up scene, what was it like to, kind of film that?
I got him. Hit him.
That was funny because it's a movie, so they do several takes.
Yeah.
And because we're wearing, a tank top and shorts, there wasn't really anywhere to put a big pad on my tailbone.
Right.
So they put what they could, and but after a fashion, it kind of got old. But I got flipped several times, and one of the producers, my good friend Fred Fontana,
Since than human.
Yeah? Well, you watch your mouth, old man.
he's like, yeah, you might want to wear tighter shorts next time
Yeah. Yeah.
because of where I landed.
Yeah.
He's so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's embarrassing. Cool. But that was a really crazy scene to film because it was like you're being introduced to doing an action film because
Right.
you're the stuntman.
Absolutely.
And
So you did all your own stunts.
yeah, that was
Wow. Yeah.
that's why they kept us in training, and they had stuntmen come in. There's a scene where we all bungee jump during the prom
Right. Yeah.
to really make an entrance, as it were, and there was the picture trellis for the prom pictures, and that was not meant to be crashed through.
Oh wow.
No, Jerry Weintraub saw it and asked the guys, "What'd you make that out of?" And
Yeah.
then he went over to the stunt guys. He
Yeah.
said, "Can we throw one of your guys through that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And they gave him a huge bump in pay, and they dropped the kid, and he smashed
Yeah.
through it, and it was great. But it happened
Yeah.
on the day. He's like,
Yeah.
"Why are we going to have these guys bungee jump in if let's do something?"
Right.
So that's why Jerry Weintraub is Jerry Weintraub. Or,
Absolutely.
he was always looking for how to make it bigger and better.
Right.
And his daughter, Julie Weintraub,
She's in that. Yeah.
that's the namesake for Hilary Swank's character.
Yeah.
So it was great. But it was everybody, we had some stunt guys, and of course they had stunt people for Hillary. Her her stunt woman was awesome. And Hillary was incredibly athletic. Anyway,
Absolutely.
so that was kind of funny. I'll tell you. So that was the first scene where you see me, I get flipped, and that happened several times.
Right.
And we got through it. The first scene we ever shot was at my friend Jenny Fine's house in Newton Corner, and we go and harass her, and then we all drive away in Ned's Jeep. And
Yeah.
instead of saying "See you later, Julie," this
Yeah.
guy, first big movie, I said, "See you around, Hillary." Called her by her name, and then everyone started laughing, and I didn't know why. And I think it was the first AD said, "All right, who called her by her name?"
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, that's right, right. Sorry,
Yeah.
new guy."
Yeah.
But it was it was really it was a lot of fun, and for 3
Right.
months, it went into and then we had a reshoot in Los Angeles
Yeah.
to tighten up the ending, and they did have to cut back a lot of the stuff with us jerks chasing her around because it didn't play that well to
Right.
have guys be such total creeps.
Yeah. Yeah.
They did have to tone it back, which
Yeah.
now you would it wouldn't suit the movie. It'd be a
Right.
different movie. Bad Lieutenant
Right.
is a different movie than the next Karate Kid, and we don't want to make the
Yeah.
guys that evil. So it was so yeah, it's funny on the trading card that I saw that had been made.
Yeah.
And it says Morgan is a man of few words, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, there's a reason they were cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was, and then at the end, we had a softball game for our rap party.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And that was over by people in Boston will know we did it on the field by the old Necco Candy Company. And
Yeah.
that was fun. So it was a great time. It was a really, really good time.
Yeah. Like again in your opening scene, Miyagi confronts Dugan. What was it like for you as an actor just being able to see, Pat Morita, Mr. Miyagi come into, one of your scenes?
That was crazy because it's
Yeah.
someone, and still people he's revered. And I knew a little bit about his career at that point in time. And then by the end of the film, I realized, yes, he was a stand-up comedian. He's a very funny guy.
Right.
And I remember him from being on Happy Days and
Yeah.
all, that kind of thing. And he did guest spots here and there. But he was Mr. Miyagi. And
Absolutely.
that was just, and he really had, it was almost like when he would show up, someone hit a gong or
Yeah.
a bell, and there was a resonance because he would get so quiet and still and have such an incredible presence, and he could knock you over, not with a feather but with his eyes.
Right.
Just really like he was a terrific actor. Great things come in small packages, and he was all of it. It was really
Yeah.
something else. So and it was very daunting. And then when he started making jokes, everything was fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nothing but respect for that man. And it was nice to on occasion make him laugh as well when we were all screwing around. And I
Right.
found out he could do a Red Fox impersonation that I.
Yeah.
It's funny, and years later, you see him do it again, and it was just like I saw him do that in person. That was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he credits him with helping his career tremendously. But he was just a really warm, gentle, funny person, and loved that a new group of kids were getting a shot at being a part of this franchise that he
Right.
pretty much it's Mr. Miyagi, man. That's the guy that that's our Yoda, right?
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So he was wonderful.
Yeah. So, getting into one of the more intense scenes with you guys, when Julie breaks into the school and you guys catch up and try to catch her, what was it like
Right.
filming that? And was all that filmed at Brookline as well? Or what was that like?
That was all filmed at Brookline High, and that was a very long night. And a lot of running around and running around and running around.
Oh, yeah.
And yelling. And, when we first confront her, like I say, surprise. And then
Yeah.
she's like,
Education. Surprise. Where you going?
like,
Yeah.
and she runs away. I say, come back. We just want to talk to you. And we're all yelling
Yeah.
all these different things to her. And it was just it felt menacing, and after the fact, we kind of feel like a jerk because
Yeah.
we really felt like a pack of wild dogs running around in there,
Yeah.
and it was fun to go terrorize the rivals high school, so that was fun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was a long night, and I used to be in tremendous shape. I'm still not too bad. I actually went on a hike today, but running for 4 hours that night up and down hallways,
Yeah.
and then it was that was a long night, and Hillary was a great sport about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, after that scene, Julie gets suspended. We see a brief scene with you guys, but the next scene we really see y'all is when Hillary returns to school and she's in the cafeteria. I feel like there might have been some stuff cut out of you guys in the cafeteria because it looked like you were going to
Yeah.
have some dialogue, but I was just going to wonder if there's anything deleted from that or anything like that.
I would have to see the deleted footage to remember exactly
Right.
what we said,
It's
but
been, yeah.
we were talking about her in a very derogatory way.
Yeah.
And because she was tough, we were, you sure she's a girl? That kind of like,
Yeah.
crappy high school talk. So we had a little of us back and forth. Then she shows up and the focus switches to her. What they did was kind of maybe it never even got edited in.
Right.
But we
Right.
did have we were told, yeah, we're gonna peel back on some of the negative lady speak.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
it didn't play for what was going on in the climate then, and it wouldn't play now.
Right. Yeah.
Because not if it was a movie about bullying, 100%.
Right.
But the Karate Kid's a little bit different because this would have gone a little deeper and darker if they kept it in. Put it that
Absolutely.
way.
Yeah.
So people say, "What do you mean it's not about bullying?" That's all it is. No, listen, Johnny is Johnny, and
There's
and Ned
parts,
is Ned.
and
There's
two
parts,
sides
but
of every story.
but
Yeah.
terrorizing a young woman is not what the movie was about. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's fine. I don't mind. I got my check, and I got to meet Mr. Miyagi, so I win.
Into the prom bungee jump scene. I know you did briefly talk on it. What was it like filming that, and what kind of went into doing that?
That was kind of funny because we did get all safetied up and we did climb all of the actors, Brian and Tom, the other guys that played with me, and Walton. We all went up, but we all got put in harnesses and we climbed to go up into the ceiling. Then they said, "Okay, now come back." And I was
Right.
like, I was like, but it'd be really cool if we could do it. And they're like, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no way you're doing that. And then,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and they actually had us drop and, fake drop. And my friend Brian, who played TJ, I think his name TJ,
He went
landed,
into the thing, right?
he hurt.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't go, that was the stunt man.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
the guy that actually was the actor, he banged his shoulder up. So
Oh wow.
leave
Yeah.
it to the professionals, as they say.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Absolutely.
I have done my own stunts in other films of my own, and for other people. And there's a reason why we have professionals do this because my body is wrecked from it from years of doing my own stunts. So
Absolutely.
yeah. But that was we started climbing up into the rafters like it was really going to go down, and we could have done it if they weren't if they didn't like us so well. But they said no.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure you don't get hurt and let the professionals do the deal.
Yeah, I know it's been a while, obviously, since filming that project. I've read the novel, and in the novel, it actually says that the principal announces like that each year, like there's a senior tradition, and like the Alpha Elite, they actually volunteered for that. Was that cut out, or was that just kind of something that was in the novel?
It was something that they should have explained better
Yeah, because the novel kind of
the
cleared that up. Yeah.
part of the story is the big but this year the guys they were supposed to do something else. But
Yeah.
they pulled a stunt because Ned was mad at being
Right.
rebuffed by
Yes.
Julie. So that's why they went and did that big crazy bungee thing. It wasn't supposed to be that.
Yeah.
It's I think I would think the writer I didn't read the novel, but I would think like this kind of a group would do something like raising money
Yeah.
would be the thing that they would do to show that they're, serving the community, not come and bungee jump in and make asses out of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that it all stemmed from Ned's ego. And being hurt that and Chris Conrad, by the way, was great to work with as well.
Right.
And I guess I stayed in touch with him for a few years after the fact, and he went on to be Hercules and all that kind of fun stuff. And he's friends with my friend Fred Fontana, producer on it. So Fred would have a yearly Christmas party, and I'd see him there sometimes, and we would laugh about meeting in Boston. But it was just this he was a great guy. They all were, but it was just that's what I'd have to say about that is it was never meant to be that they were going to do some stunt per se. They might do something kind of cool because they're military, but not literally crash the prom. I think that was all
right.
Someone got their feelings hurt and had to make a big show of themselves.
Yeah. So after that scene, you get into the intense scene, kind of setting up the final fight. With Ned, kind of like McGowan,
Yeah,
like?
I told him I hit in the face for speaking.
Yeah,
it's funny though. My last line, I finally I get to say something and I get smacked.
Morgan, you fight her. Colonel, it's over.
But I know that Walton, who I ran into him 10 years ago on Melrose Ave, and it was nice because he's doing so fantastically now with his career, and he should call me. But I saw him on the street in LA, and he said, "Tom, goddamn Downey," and I was just surprised that he remembered me. But that was nice. But we both kind of said the same thing, like, "You're crazy.
You're crazy, man."
And, I said it's over. That's what I said.
Morgan, you fight her. Colonel, it's over.
It's over, Colonel. And then I think he wanted to do a Stallone kind of ramble. Nothing is over, but he just smacked me instead.
Yeah.
So thanks, Michael Ironside. That was fun.
Yeah. What was it like, kind of filming that stunt, and what kind of went into that?
That's what we trained for.
Yeah,
was for that specifically, and it was, and we had a couple of different moves we all could do, and then by the end of it, they chose the specific moves for everybody, and that was what we got. And then of course, Ned, his fight scenes were the most intense. But we all basically had to learn every single move. And then they picked and chose, and it's like, you get dispatched, you get dispatched, you get dispatched.
Right.
And then none of us wanted to fight anymore because we're kind of tired of this old man who's just not quite right in the head.
Right.
That was the way that played out. And I was actually kind of happy that I didn't have to do too much of the stuff.
Right.
because it was a lot. And like I said, not that I didn't want to, I wanted to get better at it.
Right.
And but I honestly, there was nothing that they asked me to do that I didn't feel like I couldn't do, because Pat Johnson was just that good at his job. He made me look great. He made us all look great. Thank you, Pat. God bless him.
Yeah, well, I got to ask you again, seeing Mr. Miyagi there, like, what was it like being able to, you see like him comfort, but what was it like being able to see a Miyagi fight scene and, you're right there? Like,
Start over. Then we finish. Absolutely.
Like, that's got to be pretty nostalgic.
It was great because Michael Ironside and he were making jokes about it before they started. Then they got into it. And Michael Ironside is very intense.
Right.
He's a really, he's scary. He has that voice and that face, and he's just intense and scary. And
absolutely.
And then, Miyagi's just nothing going on there. It's just like zen and no problem. And they're dancing around each other, or rather, it's almost like watching a matador with a bull.
Right. Yeah.
And that was Pat and Michael. And he tumbles and he twists him and then he blows him over. And after he goes and knocks him down, when they yelled cut, Michael said, "What did you have for dinner?" Because of his breath.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad, but he was silly like that. Yeah. But it was amazing to watch them do that, because then when they would stop, they would get back into, being silly and fun with each other. And they both, really appreciated each other. And, Ironside was in really good shape for this film, and Pat was he's like a fire plug. He's
Right.
just a little piece of iron. So
Yeah.
it was great to watch them, move around. But like I said, I haven't thought about it for a while, but that's how I would describe it. It was like watching a matador with a bull
Yeah.
and right in front of you. And yeah,
Right.
that was pretty crazy. And even when we
Right.
came back to do the reshoots in Los Angeles, we did them. We were in San Pedro. I
Yeah.
remember, yeah, on the piers, right? So that was kind of crazy. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
it just you got another shot at hanging out with your new friends.
Absolutely.
And Chris Conrad and Hilary Swank both had to have wigs because they had moved on to other projects.
Oh, yeah, with her hair. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
can now that I told you, you'll definitely see it if
I'll
you hadn't.
definitely, yeah, I'll be like,
If
oh,
you
yeah,
hadn't
you can
noticed
kind
already,
of,
you'll be able to tell
yeah.
where she's wearing a wig and he's wearing a wig.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an amazing experience for a first film. I'd done
Right.
some other stuff before that, but this was the first studio picture. And like I said,
Absolutely.
with my name on a trailer door. We had
Yeah.
the Beatles trailer where you got one, two, three, four doors, and
Oh,
then we
yeah.
could open them all up and hang out. And it was just great. It was a lot of fun. So that I will never not appreciate working with all those people
Absolutely.
and it's fun because when Cobra Kai came out, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was like people were telling me, "Oh, they're making a whole new series." I said, "No,
Yeah.
that's got to be a joke. Is this like a fan film or?" And then
Yeah.
it's Zabka. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. So so
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was really something else. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of that, and having grown up um during seeing I saw that in the theater. Saw the original
Right.
Karate Kid in the theater. So it was just I'm lucky. What can I tell you? That's all I can
Absolutely.
say is that I am lucky to have been a part of a franchise that I actually, saw in the theaters and loved. So I'm going to say, George
Right.
Lucas, you're up next.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or, you can send me over to Marvel too. I don't mind. But it is funny.
Yeah.
I have a trading card now. So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
hey, like they do like all the baseball players over
Yeah.
there, and
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
I feel like I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. For your character of Morgan, we kind of see that Alpha is redeemed. Do you feel like Morgan was kind of a redeemed character at the end of the film?
Yeah, you can see that not even that the fight had gone out of him, but he didn't believe at all in this old man who had just gone off the rails.
Right.
What are you doing? Why are you making us you're making us be jackasses to everybody in school? And now you want us to fight a girl because your pride is hurt? Never mind that Ned, that's puppy love. Sorry,
Right.
Ned, but it was. But it was it was nice to see like these young men are not going to go down the same path as some of these older folks who
Right.
they just don't know when to quit. Got to know when
Right.
you're beat, guys. You got to know when you're beat.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the whole filming experience of the next Karate Kid, what for you personally as an actor was your favorite part of it?
I mean, it was a lot, and I have to
Yeah.
say, like the training was amazing. And I didn't have a lot to say. It's not like this was going to be like a breakthrough film for me. We're still waiting for
Right.
that. Um, but the best part of doing this was having my family come to set
Right.
and be there. And then some of my friends would come and visit, and they'd come and visit me in my trailer and hang out. And at that point, I had been doing this with a SAG card since '91. I got my SAG card standing in for Brendan Fraser
Okay. Yeah.
on School Ties. And it's funny, funny story. I actually read for the part of David in that film, and they sent a tape of mine. They still hadn't found their guy for School Ties. Matt Damon had been cast, Chris O'Donnell had been cast, Ben Affleck had been cast. All these people were already in the film, and they still didn't have their guy, they didn't have their David. And so I walked in again. This is before I had even gone and like lied my way into a theater company.
Right.
I had like a churched up resume, let's put it that way. And
Yeah.
I brought it to a casting place in Boston, the College Pickman casting, Patty Collins and Carolyn Pickman, who got me my SAG card because they put me in the film. They got me to where I needed to be. But I went in and I read, they said, oh, they have something that might be good for you. So I read for School Ties, and the woman said, I think it was Patty Collins, said, can you come back tomorrow and put this on tape? We want to send this
Right.
to Paramount. It's the
Wow.
first like real audition I ever
Yeah,
had.
absolutely. It's like, yeah.
So I said, I give me a day.
Yeah.
Like I was busy.
Yeah.
So 48 hours I went back, I read for David. They sent it to Sherry Lansing at Paramount. And I was the second choice after Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser
Right.
did a movie of the week with Martin Sheen that tested through the roof, and
Right.
that sealed my fate. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I was almost David in School Ties.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a SAG card, and I had never really acted on camera in my life, so it might have
Right.
been a good might have been a good thing that I
Right.
waited. And then of
Yeah.
course I wouldn't have my two beautiful children at this point in time, because who knows what would have happened. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah.
But that's how I got involved with the whole deal. I was just like, you go and you take a chance. And
Right.
if you never take a chance, no one's ever going to know you're there. And
Right.
if you quit, no one's going to mind in this business, because there's, a lot of other people to come and running behind you. So it is fun to be able to share, these small victories along the way with friends and family.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you spoke briefly on, you guys had like a rap party. What was it like that? Did you guys get like a cool rap gift or anything like that? Or was it like just kind of getting to interact with all those folks just one last time?
Everybody gets a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And we gave gifts to each other. I gave a big bottle for Jerry Weintraub and Pat Morita to enjoy. I gave them each a wrap
Absolutely.
booze gift, and I found out that Hillary was going to France after,
Yeah.
and she took off, and so I gave her some California wine, even though she was only 19 at the time.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I said, well, you're going to have wine in France. So she's like, this is for me? I said, yes. I said,
Yeah.
you're an absolute delight, and it was a pleasure working with you. So
Yeah.
we all gave each other like little
Right.
stuff and
Yeah.
things. And then I had a Karate Kid t-shirt for the longest time with the Miyagi dojo symbol on it.
Oh, yeah.
I think my little sister Catherine has that, and she might have my Alpha Elite shirt.
Oh, wow. You have to shoot me a picture of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I've got to
can
find that. There are pictures of me on set with the shirt on at lunch with friends. We had some folks visiting that summer, and they would come, like, it's kind of crazy when you say at age 18, 19, I think I'm going to be an actor. And then,
Yeah. Yeah.
before I was 25, starting at age 21, I was on sets and doing it. And to have friends and family come around. I saw pictures just recently. My mother's got a bunch of old albums. Hi, Ma. Everybody say hi to Patty. Nana Pat says she was a big fan of me getting my way and getting that movie. But she had pictures of me at lunch with our visitors. We had friends over from Ireland, and it was wild.
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm there in the Alpha Elite shirt, and I'm tan, and my arms look huge, and I look like a stud. And that's what
Absolutely.
it's funny. That's what Pat Johnson said. He said, remember this: the stud always gets the job. I don't care if you can act. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, and it turns out he was right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you take care of yourself, take care of your instrument, you will be prepared. And if you're a great actor on top of it, perfect. If you're not, you'll probably learn along the way. But I know from my mentor, Wally Strauss, he said that he learned from one of the people he worked with was Laurence Olivier.
Right.
He has a letter in his that my friend Georgia still has in a frame. and he was meant to direct him on stage in London in Guys and Dolls. Laurence Olivier was going to sing and dance, and everyone was like, "This is
Right.
going to be incredible." But he said, and it didn't happen for whatever reason. The financing, the timing was not right. But my friend and mentor Wally Strauss got a letter from Laurence Olivier saying, "I would not have done it with anyone else, and thank you," because he really
Yeah.
was looking forward to it. So Wally's like, "Wow, if that's not bona fides, I don't know what is." But he would tell us stories about working with all these different actors, and uh, Laurence Olivier would go to the gym, and you wouldn't think to look back, but the guy was in incredible shape to be able to
Right.
keep that going. So I pretty much what I'm saying is, yeah, the stud always gets the part. So
Yeah.
stay in
Absolutely.
shape. But it was crazy to see the pictures from back then. And I just recently got, I'm older now, but I'm back in shape, which is good.
Right.
And so,
Absolutely.
so do that at every age, kids. Take care of yourself, and your body will take care of you. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was probably the best thing that came out of it was the physical training, because that informed my acting, because you're
Absolutely.
aware you're aware of everything, not just the listening, and because that's most of acting is listening to and being aware of your surroundings, and then you get to be self-indulgent and do your thing. But if you don't
Right.
believe 100% what's happening around you, no one's going to believe you. So to be aware of my physicality and all that, and martial arts will do that to you, and you're aware of the space, you're aware of things that other people are doing. And I was always, have my head on a swivel on the street anyway, not because I'm paranoid, but because I like to watch people and learn and see something useful. Maybe I'll use it later,
Right.
or it might just be funny and entertaining. Um,
Absolutely.
but that was probably the best thing that came out of working on the next Karate Kid, was getting in tune with myself that way.
Absolutely.
And secondly, having my family and friends be able to come by and go, "Look at him, he's in a movie.
Yeah.
Isn't that swell?"
Yeah. Yeah. So, getting back into Hillary Swank, what was it like, getting to work with her? And do you think that she'll return in the final season of Cobra Kai?
I wish she would, because that would be really good news for this guy.
Yeah.
She had something going. She was playing, a little bit. She's a tough girl and as a character, but also she's been innocent. So
Yeah.
she was trying
Right.
to play those two things against each other and doing a great job of dealing with that. And you could tell there was something else going on. Like
Right.
there's a reason why Jerry Weintraub said that she's going to be the next Karate Kid.
Yeah.
That's
For sure.
a big job.
Yeah.
Um, and then she goes on to do Boys Don't Cry and Million Dollar Baby, and then all bets are off. It's just
Wins the
obvious.
Oscar and
Yeah,
yeah.
and then never calls again. Hillary,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Something I said probably when I was
Yeah.
chasing you around the hallways, being mean to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so you could tell that this gal was destined for great things.
Right.
And I remember everybody was great. That's not, to take anything away from anybody, but I remember feeling like, what's going on? Like, this is a big deal. She's Ralph
Right.
Macchio. She's Ralph Macchio. I wanted to know why. So I watched, and I would watch her do hers. We got not always on the call sheet, but you had to go to training.
Right.
And when we were at the high school, we would train on the athletic field.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd be around, and I would watch Hillary and Chris do their scenes, and of course to support, because we're all young actors at that point
Right.
in time.
Absolutely.
But it was really like, yeah, there's something going on here. There's something kind of
Absolutely.
special. So it was fun.
Yeah, with the next Karate Kid, with the Me Too movement and stuff coming up, in the
Right.
upcoming years after that, what do you think that movie did just for women in general?
It's the reason why they cut our stuff out,
Yeah.
because it was dark. We weren't
Right.
saying nice things. And it wasn't, crazy, like over the top. But there was an incident in the news that had at a college, and some bad stuff went down with some frats and sororities. I forget what, but that was kind of the catalyst to say we got to tone this back and we got to cut these scenes with
Absolutely.
these guys out because that's not going to fly. It's just they never would. But
Yeah.
I think to show that a woman can stand up for herself, and take on an 800-pound gorilla like Ned,
Right.
that's awesome because
Yeah.
it can happen. There's a couple of
Absolutely.
places you can pop someone and they're gonna first they'll stop talking, and then they're gonna want to sit down and think about their life choices.
Right.
So, and you don't have to be the strongest guy in the room, or you don't have to be the strongest girl in the room. You don't have to be the strongest anything. You just have to know how to be able to handle yourself, and
Absolutely.
you can take care of yourself, and you can get the respect of these people. Or, like I said, they'll sit down and think about their life choices, but
Absolutely.
they will sit down. And she looked like a gal who could knock you on your ass.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she still does.
Yeah. Yeah. So, getting into a photo you sent me earlier today, what was it like getting to meet Martin Cove?
That was awesome. I was
Yeah.
doing a film called Ballistica, and a friend of mine was doing the art on it, and he had to bail out and go to another gig. He asked me to go in and cover for him as art director, and so I went in and we're doing the thing, and then I saw Martin Cove, who we
Yeah.
affectionately call Marty, and I said I got to let him know that we have something in common, and I'm a karate
Yeah.
kid.
Absolutely.
I'm a karate kid too. And so I literally said just that. I said, Marty, we have something in common. And he said, oh, really? Like looked at me like, oh, really? Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's kind of a menacing, he's like, he's
Yeah.
got a presence, man,
Yeah.
And oh, really? And I said, yeah, I'm a karate kid too. And he
Yeah.
said, what? And then I told him that I did the one, and he said,
Yeah.
oh, that's marvelous. He goes, that was in Boston, and he started telling me what I did because
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
already knew. He knew all about
Yeah.
it. So that was great. So we took the pictures together, and then years later, I did a film called Axe Giant, which is a monster creature feature directed by Gary Jones, and I worked with his son, Jesse Cove.
Yeah.
And I played the Marty Cove, like mean guy, tough guy, Sergeant Hoke in
Yeah.
that one. And we had a blast doing that. But it was great. And then Marty would come to set. So we had
Right.
Martin Cove and Jesse Cove, tour de force, father and son. I wish them well with everything they do, and I hope I get to work with them again. As
Absolutely.
we're all still doing it. Like I said, if you take yourself off the shelf, they'll replace you with somebody else. So. But
Absolutely.
I would love to work with any of these folks again, and or they could come and work with me on the things that I've got
Absolutely.
cooking too, because I still keep my
Absolutely.
hand in. Yeah, tell you all
Yeah.
about that in a minute. But yeah, that was we're seeing him again was amazing, and he was so nice and so kind. And then when I saw him again on Axe Giant, I reminded him that we ran into each other the first time on Ballistic. And he
Yeah.
said, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he has he's got like a cowboy like Yellowstone aesthetic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he showed up.
He's in a lot of westerns and stuff too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he's a cowboy for real. But he showed up and he had this beautiful fringe jacket, and I was like, this guy, and he got a cigar, and he was there to watch his son act, and
Absolutely.
he's
Yeah.
watching me yell at his son, and he's like, get him, Tom.
Yeah.
It was
That's awesome.
it
Yeah.
was fun. Yeah, he's great. They're great folks.
Yeah, as I was looking through your credits, what was it like being a set dresser on Thor: Love of Thunder, like being on such a big production and big time movie like that?
That was nuts.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, people do the step meter, and it's funny because people say, "Oh, you worked on Thor." I'm like, well, yeah, they're all the same, and they're all different.
Absolutely.
Some are bigger than others, and some of them are more complex and more of a pain. This particular, I worked on the reshoots. They were in Australia. They came back. They did reshoots in Los Angeles, and I worked for them for 2 weeks. And one of the sets that we had, it was in downtown Los Angeles, and there's a famous hotel called the Cecil, and you can
Right.
look it up. And they found somebody in the water tank there, and they believe the place is haunted. So we
Yeah.
So this is the one. So we look out the penthouse window where the set that we're dressing, and there's the water tank greeting me every day.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was a little creepy. LA's kind of funny
Absolutely.
like that.
Yeah.
And a few blocks away was the Bradbury building. I think I said, big fan of Blade Runner. So the Bradbury
Right.
building's right around the corner. We shot in the Biltmore Hotel. They did Ghostbusters in there. So when I go to sets and I work and I do my art department thing, the thing that gets me jazzed is not so much the job that I'm working on, but what else is shot here? You
Right.
know, who else has been here? And when I find out like some of my favorite shows, then I become a fanboy a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, but working on Thor: Love and Thunder, like I knew the spoilers because of the scene that we had with the family set up at the end.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I knew, and they said don't tell, and I said, well,
Yeah.
I'll wait. But I knew that there's a baby Thor hammer. I knew that before
Right.
anybody else because we were putting
Yeah.
stuff away, and then I was there. Wait a minute, what's this? And when they do props, you take a picture, you put it on the box so you know what it's got. It's inventoried with a number,
Right.
and it was baby Thor's hammer. But that was a very busy set, a lot of work going on. There was so the set down by the Cecil, you go up a very small elevator.
Right.
The entire crew had to get all their stuff up through this one elevator, and then there was a horseshoe hallway that was about a quarter mile long, and then you got to the penthouse, and then you dress and get the thing set up. And the day that we wrapped, I had 42,000 steps that
Oh,
day,
wow. Yeah.
so several miles, and that was inside the building.
Right.
So that's what it's like to be a set dresser. It's a lot. It's
Absolutely.
busy.
Yeah.
But if we don't dress a set without art department, you have no world for your actors to live in.
Absolutely.
So we earn our money. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
shout out to my local 44 union brothers and sisters and my non-union friends as well.
Absolutely. As looking through your credits, you've done like so much, like wore so many different hats in the film industry, from stunts to acting to set dressing, so many other things. How do you transition, and what is it like kind of just being able to work in all these different variety of positions throughout the film and acting industry?
Well, the stuff that I've done has been of late, especially getting into art department so heavy. I realized I didn't have to be a bartender to support myself or do odd jobs as a handyman. I could get into doing art department, and
Right.
then because of the schedule, I'd be able to go and do acting, and I was able to go and produce a couple of films
Absolutely.
on my own. So that was the whole reason for getting involved. And then you meet a lot of people, and I worked with some people that I did a ton of movies. Over 2 years and 3 months, I did 14 movies with a company called The Asylum. And
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The Asylum did Sharknado and all those silly ones. For anyone who doesn't know The Asylum, I can't see how you could have missed them. They're everywhere.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I did a bunch of movies with them, and I met some very good friends of mine, Kurt and Kyle and Steve Fish, all these people everybody knows. I worked with my girlfriend at the time, Amanda, was the wardrobe gal, and I did special effects with my friend Danny. I drove the trucks. I helped build sets. I did props, and I was everything. So I learned how to do everything with them. They do
Right.
everything on a shoestring. So I learned what not to do
Right.
and how to budget, and I basically learned, how to make my own movies, and went and did a film called Mirror Image. It's now called Dark Image. It's out there. You can check it out. And that was how this character, Detective Watts, that I did was born. And that became like, that was a difficult shoot. It was very little money, but we did it. We got through it.
Right.
Had a lot of fun, or we had as much fun as we could carry. And then during the shoot, my friends who were co-directing it said, we've got to, Chris Freeman and Justin Jones, they said, we got to do a comedy with Detective Watts next. And like, he goes and investigates a murder at a sorority party massacre. And it became
Right.
our 80s homage, an 80s
Right.
like horror film homage. And it was super silly, and raised money for that, produced it. But learned a lot. Yeah, always learning along the way.
Absolutely.
And
100%.
all these jobs that I do, You learn something and you see something, and so a lot of times you learn what not to do.
Right,
And
right.
that is incredibly important. And I gotta show you one thing. Like this is, I had to bring it along because it is when you talk about your work. What were your favorite movies other than the next Karate Kid?
Yeah.
I still have my
Oh
badge.
wow.
That's a prop badge. This is the Detective Watts badge.
Oh wow, that's
So
awesome. Yeah.
Detective Watts is going to return. Mark my words. We're going to do that. So
Sounds good.
I love props. I love anything film related. It makes me go a little mental. But one of my friends paid the damages on this and got this from the prop house for me. They
Yeah,
said
that's awesome.
we're keeping it, and now it's been mine. It's going on. That was a long time ago. I don't even want to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as how does it feel to be working on all these different things as art director, or just I've done props for like everything to like cooking shows for Guy Fieri and Gordon Ramsay.
Right.
And I work with some of my really good friends doing that. Um, my friend Jordan and my friend Randy just got nominated for a prop award
Oh wow. Yeah.
for his episode. Well, he worked for them for a while, but for Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen, he just got nominated. And because I'm part of his team, I'll get a certificate saying that we've been nominated, and
It's
I
awesome.
wish him well. So myself and my buddy Tosh, great name, Tosh Pelican, just had to say it, get it out there. People, we know that name, and you will, because
Absolutely.
he's a actor, writer, director, and a very, very funny guy. But we work props on this show, and when you work with people that make you laugh and you can enjoy the day,
Right.
working with Randy and Tosh, that's great. Working with my friends Kyle Redman and Kurt Allswager, hysterical. They make the day go by. There are these people out there who are just fun to work with.
Makes it not work.
And that's the whole point, because it already is work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we do is really hard. I'm not kidding, guys. You think this is easy? It's not. It's not.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's so not easy. So the stepping in front of a camera, sometimes it's a cakewalk, and if we're making it look easy, that means we're really good. And I
Right.
can tell you when the first time I played Detective Watts, he's kind of a tortured guy, and I hadn't felt this way since I had been on stage, but I had to get really upset a couple of times, and one of them was the emotional and anger, and one was sadness. And actually, you feel pain in your body.
Right.
I felt like I had been hit with a 2x4,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now to do that, I dress sets, because that
Right.
that's equally
Yeah.
as painful. So
Yeah.
it's a lot, but I'm not taking anything away from the acting side of it, because I'm lucky when I get to do it, because not everybody is. But we bust our ass to make the world happen around our actors, and I for one certainly appreciate when I get in front of the camera, because I know what goes into it.
You've got to work with some great actors and actresses over the year. What is maybe an actor you would love to work with, you haven't had the opportunity, or maybe like a dream fight scene or something like that?
Oh wow. You know, I would like to work with Gary Oldman. I don't know that
Right.
he would be doing any fighting,
Yeah.
but if I get in shape and they ever want to do a Batman age appropriate,
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
like approaching 60. So I'm not there yet, but I will be by the time they're
Yeah.
ready for me. But I would love to work with Gary. He's one of my favorite actors, and there's a lot. Like I I love all of it. I love acting is just my favorite thing in the whole world. And a film I just saw, Fresh Kills, by
Yeah.
Jennifer Esposito. Fantastic movie. Came out of that kind of like from the small, where there's you don't have your action going on, and then all of a sudden they're you don't expect these girls to start beating the hell out of each other, but they do.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was shocking, because I remember that kind of stuff growing up, and then you see, like you used to call them cat fights.
Right.
You don't say that anymore, because you get your ass
Yeah.
kicked.
Yeah.
But these stunt people are out there and they're making these things look real. And who'd be out there that I like, do you want to fight someone? I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be great if you could fight Vin Diesel because he's just
Oh
got
yeah.
such a
Awesome.
reputation
Yeah.
as the hard guy, and back in the day, like to be like, I'd love to play the Gary Busey to Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
play the psycho
Yeah.
to the hero.
Yeah.
Because you're playing the hero's nice, but there's not a lot of room for growth. If you're playing a bad guy, you have the chance to change,
Right.
so you can have some character growth there. And yeah, so to play and that's kind of what happened to all of us in the Next Karate Kid. We actually
Absolutely.
we
Yeah.
grew and we got better as at being young men and being
Just like high school kids would. So yeah.
exactly lessons learned and moved on. But I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't do a lot of fight scenes,
Yeah.
but maybe we could arm wrestle. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Could chip some over the top in there.
yeah, and Tom Hardy's amazing. Just there's so many. I mean, I'd go and do a fight scene with Will Ferrell.
Oh.
He'd throw me
Yeah.
through a wall. It'd be great.
Yeah.
And Riley, we go hang out with the Step Brothers and get
Oh yeah.
crazy
That'd be
with it.
awesome.
I go play with Jack Black. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like there's a bunch of like the new Dune 2
Mhm.
that came out. The stunts in that were amazing. The fighting was
Right.
great.
I got a chance to see that, but
Um,
yeah.
It's well, I was a fan of the original. I read the book way back in the day. But the first Dune, I think everyone will agree, it's kind of goes along like this, and then they're like, but wait, and then Dune 2 shows up, and you've got all kinds of crazy action. It was wild, but yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it'd be fun to get my back broken by David Bautista. That'd be swell too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's funny because you say like I really am like I could keep going, dude. We could maybe
Oh yeah.
if Nick Cage wants to loosen up, we'll go a few
Absolutely.
rounds. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's tons of folks, and then and any of the ladies that want to kick my ass, you're more than welcome. You go right ahead.
Right.
So I worked with Elizabeth Hurley in the
Oh, wow,
Caribbean.
yeah.
Her son Damien wrote a little like kind of a little mystery thing. All these very beautiful young people in this little murder mystery type dealio, and I did the production design for it, and she's closer to my age than she is most of the starlets in Hollywood. She still looks the same. She's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
She is a friend, so I can say this. Elizabeth, whenever you're ready, let's wrestle.
Yeah.
I'll take you to the mat.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there's a lot of oh man, if I'm lucky enough, we'll go have some fun, and I'll get my ass kicked by some of these beautiful women.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for you as an actor, what is kind of like what's your thing that makes you most passionate about it, or what brings you the most joy from being able to act?
Dude, telling the story and being believed. If
Right.
you get people hook, line, and sinker, and they forget that that's you doing it, like, oh, we're going to see a movie with Tom, and they know it's me, then it's not so much
Right.
fun. And I don't always get away with it. Sometimes, you do your best. Some of the things I've done are silly, cartoony,
Right.
but they're entertaining. But it's me.
Absolutely.
The best compliment I ever got, or one of the best, I've been lucky to have more than one, was my sister Mary came to see me in a play, and after the play was over, she said, "Thomas, you made me cry."
Yeah.
I made
Absolutely.
my big sister, who's a pretty tough gal in her own
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
She said, "Thomas, you made me cry." I was like, "You're kidding." So that's the
Yeah.
biggest compliment I can get, and that's why I do it, because I want to tell the story and I want you to believe it, and I really do enjoy storytelling. Period. Yeah, whether it's telling an anecdote or what happened,
Right.
I have a good time with it.
Absolutely.
But especially if you're pointing a camera at me, it's so much more fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for you, as a person, actor, filmmaker, what's your next big goal you want to accomplish next year, 5 years?
What I'm working on next is doing a comedy, and it's kind of like an Always Sunny kind of a deal, or Workaholics. And
Right. I
my
love
friend,
Workaholics. Yeah.
yeah, so it's a group of guys who live in a house. They have no reason to be all living together. They have decided that they're going to be the de facto neighborhood watch. And like I said, my friend Tosh Pelican came up with this idea. We actually shot a pilot for it last summer,
Right.
and it's with younger guys, and then there's me, which makes no sense. Why is I'm kind of like their Frank from Always
Yeah.
Sunny. Like, why is this
Yeah.
old weirdo in the house? If you ever saw the film Falling Down, it's a great movie with Michael Douglas. And I kind of patterned my character off of him. So you
Okay.
got
Yeah. I haven't
a
seen
little
that, but
bit.
I have seen some Michael Douglas stuff. So yeah.
It's a great movie. It's about a middle-aged guy who's kind of lost his mind,
Right.
and he kind of has
Kind of like
like a
Dugan.
yeah, exactly. He wears
Yeah.
a white shirt with a tie, and he's got a pocket protector, and he's just kind of come unhinged. So I based it off of that, and we had a lot of fun with that. So we're gonna put together a little teaser trailer, and then maybe do a 3 minute, 7 minute, and then maybe 12, and it'll be a there's enough to do a half-hour episode as it is for what we shot. But Neighborhood Watch, we got that going on, and I'm working with my my sons both have their own ventures that are going on. My son Nick has uh, Expect a Noob, and he does YouTube videos
Oh
and he
wow. Yeah.
reviews stuff, and he also has done sketches. So check out Expect a Noob and tell me what you think of that. And my son Shane is an artist, and he's done videos to promote his Dog Park magazine, which is an art collective of it's mixed media and photography and poems and this and that. And he's so they're doing all that. But we did 3 videos on. You can look him up at Dog Park Magazine on Instagram and check out the videos we did. Just
Absolutely.
quick little silly things. So I'm trying to help them do their thing. I'm doing mine, and the the guy went down to the Caribbean with to work for Elizabeth Hurley, my friend Lee Scott. He's got some films that we're talking about doing coming up, and there's more to come,
Right.
no doubt. There's more to
Yeah.
come, and I'm lucky enough to get my face on camera once a year and keep getting the
Yeah.
bills paid.
Yeah.
And it's a very precarious environment right now with the film industry. With the way the streaming platforms have kind of there was a real estate bubble, a tech bubble, and then there was a streaming bubble. The streaming bubble has burst.
Right.
So nobody needs to have 2 dozen streamers on their phone or their computer. So they kind of oversold it, and they didn't get the subscribers they wanted. And last year during this is all very boring stuff, but last year during the
No,
writer
it's great to
and
hear this stuff. Yeah.
okay, but last year during the writer and actors strike,
Right.
the banks came calling to the studios and producers saying, "You remember 2022 when you started the year off with 600 shows?
Yeah.
Well, now
Yeah.
you have to pay for them." So that
Yeah.
was during the strike. So they kind of got cold feet, and this year I thought we were all going right back to work. It was going to be great,
Right.
and it's been slow. I just did a film, not telling tales out of school because I'm sure it's already they had E Entertainment come by, but SZA and Kiki Palmer
Okay.
star in this comedy, kind of like Friday, but it's
Oh,
a
I love Friday. Yeah.
couple of gals. Yeah, so I got to see. I did onset for them, um, which is just resetting as you go. And I got to watch them do it, and they're very funny, and it's going to be great. But that's one of the few things that's been happening. There are shows out there. There's just not as many. Um,
Right.
but that's kind of what has been happening. So I feel lucky to get anything going on right now, and it'll come back around.
Right.
Why are things so slow in Hollywood? It's because there was like a real estate or a tech bubble, there was a streaming bubble, and it burst.
Absolutely.
And now we've got to press reset, and I'm definitely going to keep pushing and swinging for the fences and supporting all my friends. That's why I say all their names. My friend Eve Morrow is my manager. She's a wonderful actress. She was down in the Caribbean for the movie I did before it called Black Noise. Lots of great folks on that film. Lee Scott brought me down there to work with them. Yeah, it's just there's so many people that I want to see do well, and we're all kind of waiting
Right.
to get back in there and get going. But Eve's the one who set us up. You guys
Yeah,
reached out
absolutely.
through
Shout out. Appreciate getting us
yeah,
connected for
thank you,
sure.
Eve. Thank you, Lucy Strong. Yeah, very, very cool. So I mean, I could talk a lot about all the stuff that I've seen and done, but you got a pretty good cross section right there. So
Absolutely.
what else do you need to know?
Yeah. So, as we start to wrap up, the next Karate Kid, for you as an actor, what is it like to still be talking about something that you did, 30 years ago now with it being the 30th anniversary?
It's I hadn't you'd say, well, I hadn't thought of it. Now I found a refrigerator magnet
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
from the next Karate Kid.
Yeah.
So I'm reminded of it every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's and I do appreciate it that much. And if I didn't have it, uh, you know, I would still think about it often. And
Right.
I'm constantly reminded by Walt Goggins because he never calls and he's doing so much
Yeah.
better than me. So I can't forget the Karate Kid, even
Yeah.
if I tried. And then
Yeah.
I do hear that Hilary Swank did well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's doing fine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Doing
Absolutely.
fine.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was awesome. And I'd be happy to do more if they want to be liars and come back and do another season of Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Sign me
Get the
up.
whole gang back together.
Send me in, coach. I
Yeah.
can still just about touch my toes.
Absolutely.
And I can still carry my own weight in
Yeah.
acting. So yeah,
Absolutely.
would love to. But I can I'm really I have to say thank you to you
Yeah.
for showing an interest in this, and you make an old male feel good because that trading card, I think that's rarer than a Charizard from
Yeah. Shout out Jonathan
1999.
Hunter for making that.
Jonathan Hunter, thank you so much. That blew my mind. You stick around long enough, people will notice you, I guess. So thank you for that, Jonathan. That was awesome. But I love seeing the Cobra behind you on the wall.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, it's
Got
just
the can't see it in the shot. We got the book over here too.
oh,
So
right
yeah.
on. That is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get one of those now.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had that thing
Now
for
I need
years.
it.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
need
Your
it.
picture's in it. So yeah.
That's insane to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That is wild. Man, thank you so much, man. This is
Yeah.
it's
Tom,
a
thank you again for coming on. It's great being able to, hear some of your behind the scenes stories and stuff, working with Pat and just your overall experience and everything.
Levi, so man, I you brought back a lot of really good memories, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And when we do go and do season 7,
Yeah.
and that's part of the reason why I had a choice today.
Yeah.
I didn't have to wear black.
Yeah. The Alpha Elite, you got to wear
But I said, wait a minute. Now we're going to actually represent. And I wish
Absolutely.
if I still had if I had my Alpha Elite shirt, I would have worn it. I could ask my
Yeah.
sister Catherine if I still have that. But
Yeah.
thank you for being interested, and to all the fans of everything Karate Kid, I want to say thank you very much. It's been pretty special for me to be a small part of it.
Absolutely. Tom, thanks again and have a great rest of your day.
You as well, my friend. We'll talk soon.
Morgan, you fight her. Colonel, it's over.